What is up, Ada Nation? Welcome to Dapp Central. My name is Fareed, breaking down all of the latest news and updates going on in Cardano. I want to kick off today's video by wishing you all a happy New Year's, especially the supporters of the Dapp Central YouTube channel, as we're going into our second full year of being here on this platform. Now, as a part of today's video, I will be keeping this relatively brief. I'll have additional Cardano scoops coming out later throughout the week. But I wanted to focus very briefly on an ongoing conversation within the Cardano community, as well as the Twitter space community. So over the course of the past 2 months, really beginning back in October, we've seen Bitcoin pumping again between 30,000 all the way now to about 44,000, where we're potentially going to be seeing a retest, especially as the news surrounding the Bitcoin spot ETFs roll out. Now, as a part of that, we've seen the entire blockchain space, which includes, of course, Bitcoin, Ethereum pumping. We've seen a ton of the leading L1s, including Solana, Cardano, Avalanche, and Matic also pumping. But then we've also seen ecosystem tokens also beginning to pump as well. So with those pumps, we also begin to see meme coins, which are pumping specifically within Cardano. So that's actually going to be the focus that I want to briefly talk about as a part of today's update. So we've seen tons of new meme coins coming online. And for today's video, I'm not going to name anything by name. I don't want to basically promote anything at this point, but then I also don't want to target any specific individuals, as a lot of this news and a lot of the facts are still under wraps. Now, to summarize this, because we've seen so many meme tokens launching, there's been a lot of promotion as well as a lot of chatter about these new assets coming online. Now, this is somewhat of a two-edged sword, again, just within the blockchain and Cardano community. The positive side is that we're in a decentralized environment where you don't need anybody's permission in order to launch a token. The downside is that because you don't need anybody's permission, there's a lot of tokens without any utility or any legitimacy behind them that are also coming on the chain. So it's up to us as investors and as early adopters of this technology to do our own due diligence before ever investing in some of these assets. Again, I want to just kind of briefly touch on this here, given the fact that right now we're on the cusp, right, of a brand new bull market. We're getting more and more people jumping into the space, and a lot of them are here for the quick gains, which is typically associated with what you see when it comes to meme coins. So that said, again, there's been a couple of meme coins that have launched over the course of the last week on Cardano. Again, I won't name them by name, but given the fact that they've now launched, there's been a lot of talk about just the transparency, the funding, the marketing, and just the overall exposure, right, that these particular projects are getting from prominent voices within the space. So one thing I want to just quickly touch on is the market perception, right? Again, meme coins are going to be a gamble if we're going to be honest. Nobody knows which meme coin is going to blow up next and which meme coin is going to fail. Now, crypto is already a super risky space where we see over 90 to 95% of the projects launching on the network beginning to fail. Again, not just specific to Cardano, but just within the blockchain space in general. So when you take a look at those odds, and then you take a look at something like meme coins, which abide to those specific odds as well, right? That really just gives you really low risk and, really high risk and potentially high rewards as well, but to what extent? And so when we see meme coins like we've seen in the past couple of days launching on Cardano, it's really just kind of reminded me, right, to focus on the fundamental builders and to not be swayed, right, by some of the latest shiny objects. Now, what's interesting is that we've had solid projects building on the network, which provide tons of utility. Again, I'm not here to name names in this particular video, which have actually been hitting all-time lows. Now, these are projects that I talk about here on the channel. Again, not from a price perspective, but just from a fundamentals perspective and what they're actually providing to not just the crypto community, but just people outside of crypto as well in terms of adoption and in terms of new opportunities. Now, these are the types of projects that I personally like to take a look at when it comes to my investment thesis. Again, because they've got real world utility and they're really trying to do something to change just the overall world in how we operate. Now, when it comes to something like a meme coin, what's really crazy is that you see these actually getting a lot more attention than some of the more fundamental projects get attention. So when some of these projects launch, they can do anything between, 1 to 2, sometimes even 10,000x or a 10,000% gain, which I think is somewhere around 100x once they actually launch. Now, because of the scarce amount of liquidity, right, this opens you up to people that may have malicious intent actually removing all of the liquidity from the token, basically leaving you as a potential investor in those meme coins holding the bag. And so again, it's not something that I am excited to talk about as a part of today's video, but there's just been a huge conversation within the Cardano community about that. I'm actually still live on a Twitter space right now. I just kind of muted it just to actually get this content out. But there's really been an ongoing 3-hour space talking about 3 or 4 different meme coins that have launched within Cardano in the last week, which appear to have a ton of red flags associated with them. And some of them have actually been, I don't want to say shilled, but they've been discussed in some of my comments. And so I haven't responded to some of the questions about whether or not to invest in these assets because, again, they're not ones that I follow closely, especially when they're launched, 5 or 6 days ago. It's hard for me to keep up with regular projects. Nonetheless, projects that are spinning up in a matter of a couple of days. Now, to that end, again, yes, there will be some winners. We've seen, for example, Bonk, which has been a huge winner on the Solana network. We've also seen, for example, Snek within Cardano, which has really gathered the entire community together and has kind of been leading the race when it comes to meme coins on Cardano. But that doesn't mean that there aren't 100, if not more, thousands of failed meme coins that have come out before them. So in order to hit something like Snek, in order to hit something like Bonk, Doge, Shiba, the odds are there, but they're not necessarily in your favor. And so I wanted to just kind of briefly touch on that here and what could potentially be done moving forward in order to mitigate these issues. Now, as a part of the Twitter space that I'm listening to now, it seems like the biggest issue is people promoting some of these tokens without necessarily disclosing whether or not they're involved or whether or not they're receiving actual tokens in return, right, for their promotional services. And so I wanted to bring this up to you guys here just to kind of get your thought as to what can be done within this space to make sure that when, these assets are launching, that it's done in a transparent way. Because of the lack of regulation, it's really hard to have a standardized set of rules that everybody plays by. Again, we saw this back in around the July timeline when we had a ton of meme coins coming online. One of them being Snek, which again is still around today, but we saw a lot of other protocols trying to take advantage of the hype right around that same time, which are now down more than 99%. Now, as you guys all probably know, trading is a zero-sum game. So anytime that somebody makes a gain, there's somebody on the other side that is actually losing out on their asset. And so in order to preserve the community and not have it all just be gain driven or meme coin driven, which again kind of shifts away from the actual utilization and the theme of crypto and blockchain itself, I think that we have to come to a mutual understanding and just being more transparent about exactly what we support and the intentions, behind what we're promoting on our platforms. So again, I wanted to just get this video out just to kind of raise awareness surrounding some of the risks involved within meme coins. I'm sure that you guys are all probably more than aware. But as we get more people coming into this space, they will inevitably be attracted to some of those shiny objects or some of those quick gains. And so I urge you guys, do your research now, especially as we get ready for the bull market to finally kick off towards the end of 2024 and moving into 2025, right? And it's just really been interesting to see people kind of shifting the blame and not being fully responsible for their decisions. And so with something like a meme coin, when you win, you can take 100% of the responsibility there, right? But it has to be the same exact way when you lose, that you're also ready to take all of the responsibility on that end as well. It's been really crazy to see people going as far as pointing the finger at Charles Hoskinson, who's obviously got no control or say surrounding any of the assets that are launched on Cardano, which of course is actually a good thing, right? We would never want to have one single person being in charge of any of the tokens that can be launched or taken down on the network. So let me know what you guys think down below. Have you guys actually been investing in meme coins lately? If so, have you guys also been keeping up with some of the latest reports coming in from platforms, for example, like the Cardano Times, about some of the recent launches and just what are your thoughts surrounding those overall. Again, my job here is just to keep you guys updated as everything unfolds within Cardano. But the year of 2024 has really kicked off in an interesting way, with a lot of attention going towards some of these meme coins, which have been taking a lot of liquidity from the community without necessarily showing a lot in terms of utility and longevity. And so I wanted to break this down here, talk about it, and just be transparent about the fact that yes, there will be winners. There's also going to be losers. But at the end of the day, we have to make sure that our intentions are right and that we have the correct motive when promoting some of these projects. And so again, I'm going to be doing my due diligence moving forward to make sure not to highlight projects without actually researching what it is that they're bringing forward. Again, nobody can have a crystal ball and know which projects are going to make it and which aren't. But what I can definitely do here on my channel is make sure to vet the projects very thoroughly before presenting them to my community, especially as my personal voice begins to grow here on the YouTube channel. Again, with more people looking to come into the space as Bitcoin, Cardano, Ethereum, and all these other crypto assets move higher in price. So that will do it here for today's video. Again, just want to quickly share my thoughts about some of the meme coins and some of the talk that has been happening on crypto Twitter about all these different assets. As always, if you guys found any value as a part of today's video, I would appreciate you if you could smash that thumbs up. If it's your first time stopping by Dapp Central and you want more content like this, breaking everything down going on in Cardano in real time, consider subscribing. And last but not least, if you have any questions for me surrounding anything that we're talking about or any specific meme coin, leave them down below as long as they're not a shill. I'll try to do my best to go ahead and answer them. That said, and as always, I will see you guys in the next video.